How's it going, everybody? This is Dakota from the Techies World, and I don't usually do these kind of videos, but I thought I would go ahead and do sort of like an update video and show you the kinds of videos that you'll be seeing on the Techies World channel over the next couple weeks and or months. First of all, I want to kind of address the kind of setup thing I've got going here. This is kind of like a new setup that I'm trying out. This is kind of like a tall table here that's kind of sitting over by my desk. So again, you know, the lighting isn't exactly even and it's a little off, so my apologies for that, but this is kind of like a work in progress. If I ultimately like this setup, I might end up using the setup for other videos. If not, we'll scrap it and just go back to the old way. You've seen the unboxing video of this, but you have not seen the review. I haven't even filmed the review yet, but you will be seeing it soon, and that is for this little guy, the Amazon Echo Dot. And again, I can't reach the camera, so I'll just have to do this little thing, but this is the Echo Dot. Now, in the unboxing video of this, I said I would have the review up within 2 weeks. Well, that lapsed into 3 weeks, and now I think it's 4 weeks. But that's just kind of the way it goes. I will say this product still confuses me a little bit. I still don't think Amazon is very clear explaining what this product is and its purpose and why we need it. But I have been playing around with it, and I've been getting used to it. I will say that it is a bit of a privacy issue because the microphone is turned on and it's listening to every single syllable that you utter from your mouth 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it could be considered a privacy issue, but guys, that's the future. The future is no privacy. That's the way it is. I like privacy just as much as the next person, but the future is no privacy. We just have to suck it up and deal with it. But Amazon Echo Dot, look for a full demo and review of that product soon. One thing that I have gotten a lot of requests on, and I really shouldn't be surprised by this, but in a way it took me by surprise, and that is the Is It Still Useful series. One video that people have been wanting me to produce is a version of Is It Still Useful focusing on macOS 10 Lion, or otherwise known as 10.7. You know, a lot of you guys really do want to see if Lion is still useful. Now, that has been on the list of future videos for quite a while, but I just never got around to making it. And now, since I know that a lot of you want to see that video, I have bumped that video up to almost the top of the list. I basically put a rush on there, and I actually want to produce videos that you want to see, and that's something that a lot of you want to see. So that is coming up. I have a couple machines I can run Lion on. I have a MacBook, a white plastic MacBook. You see me unbox that on this channel, gosh, I think over a year ago now. I still have it. It's not actually over here. It's actually over on my laptop shelf. I still have it. It's actually running Lion. And I also have an iMac that's running Lion. Now, I actually never did a video on the iMac, but you've seen that iMac in the episode for Windows XP. That's how I ran Windows XP for my testing, was I boot camped it on that iMac. And so I have two machines that are running Lion that I can easily use. But what I need to figure out is which one I want to use. Now, the MacBook is newer. It's a 2008 versus the iMac, which is a 2006. But the iMac has 3 gigs of RAM, where the MacBook only has 2. And speaking about that particular series, another video in this series you'll be seeing is Windows Vista. Now, I read somewhere, and I don't remember if it was from The Verge or maybe from Gizmodo or somebody, where Microsoft is going to be cutting off the support for Windows Vista sometime this year. I'm not sure when I want to produce that video, if I want to produce it now while it's still having updates pushed to it, or if I want to wait until after Microsoft cuts off the updates and ultimately produce it then. Alright, so switching gears and actually talking about computers themselves. Now, you've seen, I think, 1 or 2 videos. I know I've produced a couple videos on this machine before, and that is the toilet seat, the Clamshell iBook. Now, this is that same iBook that I've had for a couple of years that I have completely rebuilt. And I have a couple of videos in mind that I want to do with this. This machine is actually running OS 10 Puma, which is 10.1, which is one of the early versions of Mac OS 10. But I ultimately want to upgrade this thing to Panther, which is its highest OS that it'll hold natively. And so I ultimately want to do that. I may film that, I may not. You know, it's pretty straightforward. I probably won't film it. But I have an idea with this machine, and that is you can actually get OS 10 Tiger to work on these machines. The first generation clamshells that do not have FireWire do not natively support Tiger because they don't have FireWire. And I don't believe their processor speed is fast enough either. There is a way of getting Tiger on these machines. And I think that would make a kind of cool little video, kind of showing you how to get Tiger on these older clamshells without FireWire. Kind of maybe doing a video showing how good or how poorly Tiger performs on these machines. So that'll be a video you'll probably likely be seeing. Now, somebody had suggested, and I don't remember who it was, but somebody had suggested that I should do Is It Still Useful series focusing on the clamshell iBooks. I don't really see the point in that, quite frankly. We all know these things are about as useless as a 1200 baud modem. So I don't really see the point in that. But, I mean, you know, they do, I mean, you know, they're not really useful for anything besides nostalgia. If that's a video you want me to produce, let me know. Just drop in the comments you want to see it, and I'll produce it. If you don't, I won't. I just never thought that was practical, because we all know these things really aren't useful today. I mean, besides just running old obsolete software, there's really no use for these things. Now, speaking about old computers, this actually isn't mine. I'm actually borrowing this computer from somebody, and this is it here. It is a Compaq Presario, and I always forget the model number of this. The Compaq Presario 1670. And so this is it here. Now, this computer actually isn't mine. It actually belongs to a friend of mine. And I'll actually tell you who it is because he has his own YouTube channel as well. This computer actually belongs to Wormimo. And I'll actually put a link to his channel in the outro, and I'll also put a link in the video description. Now, Wormimo and I are actually really good friends in real life. We actually know each other in real life. We're actually very good friends. His channel actually mostly focuses on gaming, so that's the reason why he lent me this machine, because he really doesn't do tech videos. He's mostly of a gaming video type of channel. I have a couple ideas for videos on this machine. This machine is actually running, I believe it was Windows 98 this machine is running. And what I ultimately want to do is I ultimately want to maybe bump it up to Windows 2K and maybe show a video on that. I'm ultimately going to do like a overview video on this, because it is kind of like a cool piece of technology. And you know, it's an old vintage computer that dates from the late 90s or mid to late 90s. And so again, you know, I'll do like a overall just general overview video. And then I have a really cool idea for a video on this where we're basically going to be pushing the limits, where we're going to try to attempt to install Windows XP on this and see what we can do with it. I think that would be a really, really cool video. You know, like, you know, pushing the forces of hell, trying to get this machine, you know, to run Windows XP, you know, I think I can. And so I just ultimately think that would be a really fun video to produce, trying to see if this machine can handle XP. This machine only has 64 megs of RAM, which is the bare minimum you need to run Windows XP. So I think that would be a really fun video to produce, seeing if this poor little machine can if it can run Windows XP. So again, thanks to Wormimo for ultimately just lending me this machine. Because again, I think that's going to be an absolutely fun video, and ultimately I can't wait to produce it. I mean, I think that's going to be absolutely hysterical. So again, look for a few videos on this old Compaq Presario coming soon as well. Keeping with obsolete computers, let me just kind of move some of these out of the way over here. Another computer that you'll be seeing in a video is this. This is a 14-inch iBook G3. Now again, I've never made a video on this. Now, I'm not sure what type of video I want to produce with this. I was thinking of maybe doing another installment of the Is It Still Useful series, taking the PowerPC Max Is It Still Useful video and kind of dissecting that, talking about, okay, are the G3 still useful? Now for that video, I'd ultimately used an iBook G4, so that would remain the G4 series, and then ultimately if I ever got a G5, which is probably like never, but if I ever got a G5, then I could produce another version talking about the G5. But I probably won't do that, because again, a lot of it's just repetition. There's a lot of things that are the same between all of the PowerPC versions. Some things are different, but for mostly, you know, that video that I did covers pretty much almost all PowerPC Macs. You know, they all suffer from the same thing. I may do like an overview video talking about the G3. I also have a 12-inch iBook G3 as well, and maybe I'll do like a comparison. You know, I'm not really sure what type of video that I want to produce with this, but ultimately there will be some sort of video talking about this 14-inch G3 iBook. There will be some video on it. I'm not sure what, so you'll be seeing that. And the last thing I want to talk about, well, second to last thing, it involves computers once again, and that is this big heavy guy right here. Now, this is, oh, you're looking at its back. It goes this way around. There we go. This is that PowerMac G4. Now, you've seen a couple of videos on this channel back when I used to produce crappy videos like I do now. I mean, you know, these videos are still crap, but, you know, they're better than what I used to produce. And I will say that. I got it from a friend of mine. Her parents had this machine. They ultimately upgraded to a new computer. They had no use for this. And she just thought that I wanted it because I'm kind of like a computer hoarder. And so she ultimately thought of me and asked me if I wanted it. I'm like, heck yeah, I want it. I've had this machine for, I think, almost 3 years now. I've had this machine. And quite frankly, I've had this machine sitting up here in my office doing nothing. I don't really have a use for this machine, but again, you know, I think it's too beautiful to throw away. Now, this is a very nice looking machine, at least in my opinion. And again, you know, it still works, and it still works beautifully, so there's no reason to part it out or throw it away. So I ultimately have just had this thing just sitting up here in my office doing nothing. Well, that's about to change, because there's going to be a whole new video series talking about turning this PowerMac into a file server. I have been wanting to do this for years. I've never had a proper machine to do this on. So ultimately I decided I'd rather see this computer being used than rather just sitting up here in my office collecting dust doing nothing. And so I'm turning this machine into a file server. I'm going to do a whole video series talking about how to turn these old G4 Power Macs into a file server, or maybe any other Mac into a file server as well. Now, the main reason I'm going with this machine is because this actually is the gigabit Ethernet model. This is a dual processor 500 megahertz model, but underneath this silver part, this is called the heatsink. Kind of do computer history in here too. So this silver part's called the heatsink. Right underneath the heatsink, there's two G4 processors in here. It's dual processed. So with the two processors, it runs up to 500 megahertz. And this ultimately was, I believe, the top-of-the-line model that you could buy at the time. Now, the main advantage of having gigabit Ethernet is you don't have a bandwidth restriction. If you're using an old computer as a server, you need to make sure it has gigabit Ethernet, not 10100. Because with 10100 Ethernet, you will have a big bottleneck in speed. I've already got a monitor, a keyboard and a mouse for this computer, and ultimately this is going to be set up in my basement because that's ultimately where my network equipment is. That's where Verizon installed my network equipment, and I don't know why they did that, but when I ultimately got FiOS, they ultimately decided to set it up down in the basement. So, but that actually works out a lot better because I have more space down in the basement to put this. And now since my network equipment is down there, I have cleared out a space next to the router. In my basement. I have a desk down there all ready to go, and so when I get this machine built up as the server, I just carry it downstairs, carry it down in the basement, hook it all up, and start putting files on it and start sharing files over the network. I've always wanted a file server, and now I have the proper machine to do it, and I have the equipment to do it as well. So the last thing I want to talk about before I end this overly long video is just typical. I always go overly long with these videos, just typical with me. But the last thing I want to talk about is something that you might know. If you follow my website, I put up a blog post a while ago talking about how I have been on a mission to try to buy new technology to ultimately unbox and review for you guys. But, you know, I want to create videos that'll please every tech dork, dweeb, geek, nerd. Again, I use those terms affectionately. But again, you know, we're all tech dorks. And, you know, some of us like old technology, some of us like the new stuff. So again, you know, I want to create a mixture of videos for you guys. So in that way, if you're a fan of the old technology, you know, you'll like the channel. If you're a fan of the new technology, you'll still like the channel. And again, the echo is kind of like the first sign of that. So again, I'm currently in the process of trying to get new technology to unbox and review for you. And ultimately, I think I've talked about this before as well, that I just can't physically go out and buy the latest and greatest tech item. I can't do that because I just don't, I just don't have that kind of money. As much as I would love to go into the Microsoft store and, get one of the new Microsoft Studio desktops, I just don't have that kind of money. And so, we're starting out small, like with the Echo. So we'll look for new stuff coming down the line for, unboxings and just, demos and stuff of new technology when I can afford them. So look for those coming down the pipeline. And again, that is an update on things that you'll be seeing over the next couple weeks and months. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If any of the things I talked about in this video intrigued you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure you turn on notifications for this channel. Then that way you'll be notified every time the video is uploaded. Just click that little bell icon and turn on notifications. Then that way you'll be notified every single time a video is posted. And again, check out all those social media accounts. Follow them all if you'd like. Check out the website. And I will see you guys with the next tech video. Thank you for watching.
Significant, you're missing it. Reaction to a fiction, cause the beat is so explicit and my dreams are now illicit. It's not enough to see it, scratch it, read it, claw, beat it, be the first to be an animal that needs it.